Hello to all teachers. I hope that everybody is doing amazing. My name is Vanneshly Santiago and I am a senior AVID WICOR Ambassador. In this video, I am going to be giving you guys some additional information and support about what WICOR is, several examples of what type of documentation you can use, what ambassadors are for, and how they can give you support, and lastly, how the documentation is supposed to be structured. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start by understanding what WICOR is and how you relate WICOR to your everyday lessons and assignments. WICOR stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. You use at least one WICOR strategy without even realizing that you do. Here, you can see different ways that you can apply WICOR to things you do in class. For example, in writing, your students can either be writing for an assignment, project, or taking notes. Inquiry, your students are probably doing some research for an assignment, researching in online, researching in books, etc. For collaboration, your students are working either in groups, small groups, one-to-one, for a project, assignments, or whatever it is that you can come up with. Organization, you are either using graphs, anchor charts, tables, 3-column notes. And for reading, you are either reading a text, a book, or an article, etc. The options keep going and keep going. Here in this PDF, you are able to see different ways that you can use the WICOR strategies in your class. And not only these, you can come up with several different types of options or different ideas that involve WICOR. Now, let's get into what ambassadors are and how they can help you. First of all, having an ambassador is completely optional, and second, an ambassador has to be an AVID student, either a junior or a senior. Ambassadors are here to help you collect documentation and create the documentation for you and make sure that the documentation is submitted successfully. Ambassadors were created to help all teachers, especially the ones who didn't have the time to collect documentation or need some additional support. If a teacher has an ambassador, the ambassador is either going to go to the teacher's planning period or their PLC. And if a student can't go to none of those periods, you can either schedule a time for you guys to have a meeting and meet and see how you guys are going to work in the future, or you can guys communicate via email. Also, the ambassador that you have is going to be your ambassador through the entire year. Some of you might be wondering, how do I get an ambassador? Or I don't want an ambassador. Who's going to be my ambassador? And how is that process going to work? Well, we are still figuring out if the teachers are going to be able to choose their ambassadors or the students are going to choose the teachers that they are going to work with. But if you don't want an ambassador, you can either email Ms. McCoy or figure out how to get that message to Ms. McCoy. That way she doesn't assign you an ambassador, and that's how that's going to work. Once you have an ambassador, that ambassador is going to reach out to you and ask when you guys can meet and how your relationship is going to work and how you guys are going to use teamwork to collaborate with each other. In this part of the video, I am going to be explaining how the documentation must be set up. So if you have an ambassador, this is how your ambassador is going to set up your documentation. And if you are working without an ambassador, this is how you are supposed to set up your documentation. So to start off, this is the template on where you are going to insert the documentation. It's 2 pages. And let's start off by giving you guys a tour of this page. So over here at the very top where it says WICOR strategy, you are going to either highlight one of the strategies or you are going to write the strategy that you use. Over here, you are going to put a description over the assignment that you chose to put related to the WICOR strategy that you put up here. After that, you can either put a picture, so right here, in this blank, you can either put a picture of the assignment or put the link of the assignment. Take note that the assignment that you choose that goes in this section must be filled out by a student. So a student must have completed that assignment. And then the other part is that you are going to submit or take a picture of focus notes. And that's going to go here, and just a brief description about what the notes are about. Focus notes. Focus notes must include an essential question and objective, questions over the notes, and a summary. And then lastly, we have this second page. This second page is more of like a resource for y'all and for the ambassadors. You don't necessarily have to follow this table right here, but this is just an idea of what you can do each 6 weeks doing a different kind of WICOR category. And then here we just have more brief examples of what WICOR is and the different types of things that you can use under that category. So in this part of the video, I am going to be showing you guys some previous examples of how WICOR documentation should be filled out. This was done by ambassadors, and this documentation is for Ms. Marquez, and she is a math teacher. So let's get started. Over here, they put the WICOR strategy that they used. They used collaboration and writing, and then they had a brief description, and then they included a picture filled out by a student. So the assignment filled out with the student's work, which is what we need. And then she gave us the focus note taken, the description of the focus notes, a picture of the notes, and all the things that the notes must include. And then here's the last of the page that really doesn't need to be filled out. And then let's go to another example. This is Miss Massey. She is an English teacher, and this was also filled out by ambassadors. And let's get to it. So the difference between this one and the other documentation is that this one used all 5 WICOR strategies, but the difference is that the 5 strategies were used in different assignments, which is great. So I'll get to that after I give you guys a tour over this documentation. So here she had the writing plus the description, a picture of the assignment filled out by a student. Then she had her category inquiry with her description, some links that are related to the inquiry strategy, a picture of the assignment. Then she had collaboration, the description, a picture, organization with a description, and then the picture of the assignment filled out by a student. And then she has reading right here, the description, and then she has the link. So probably there's no picture here, but that probably just means that they were just reading an article in class, and she gave us the links to the article. And then she takes us to focus notes. She used the Cornell Notes template, which I truly 100% believe that it's the best way to take notes. Why? Well, it has a notes section. Up here you have a topic and objective, an essential question section, questions on the margin, and summary. And all of these are filled out. And that's what we need for focus notes, because that's what focus notes are. They include all of those categories. And that is why Cornell note taking is incredible, and I 100% recommend it. And then that's it. And then the last page, which you don't necessarily have to do anything. So I am going to quickly compare Ms. Marquez with Ms. Massey's documentation. So both of these documentations are awesome, and they are great, and they have what we need. They both have the WICOR strategy plus the focus notes with everything that it must include, with descriptions and with essential questions, objective questions, and summary. And that is awesome. The only difference is that here in Ms. Marquez, she used 2 strategies in one assignment. So instead of having one assignment for each strategy, Ms. Marquez was able to find an assignment that used both collaboration and the writing strategy, and she just put it under one assignment. So just know that the assignment that you choose can fall under more than one strategy, and if that happens, that is great, and that actually just saves you work. And Miss Massey, well, she did her WICOR strategy separately, which is perfect. It's great. Both ways work perfectly fine. You can do whatever works best for you. But In some of these, now that I am looking at them, some of them could have fallen under more than one strategy. For example, inquiry, you can see that they were doing some research, but over here in the assignment, they were doing some writing. So this could have fallen under writing and inquiry. So you kind of have to look very into it to see if it just falls under that category or if it can fall under in more than one category. But you can choose whatever works best for you. Having all 5 strategies in one documentation would be great and is what we would prefer, but the minimum is just 1. But this is just great. And both of these documentations are great examples on how you can do your documentation. To end this video off, I am going to be pointing out some points for the teachers who are going to be working alone or without an ambassador. So if you're doing your documentation in Google Docs, please make sure that you share your document for the forward ISD to see. So if you don't know how to do that, you're going to come to the share at your top right hand corner. You're going to get a restricted access. So you have to click on it and then click forward ISD, because if you don't, then no one is going to have access. So please do so. And this part goes for everyone. When you are submitting your documentation, please do so in a PDF if you're working independently. And when you're naming your PDF, please put your name at the very beginning of the title of the document or the PDF that you're doing. That way we know that that documentation belongs to you and we don't have to open the document and see whose teacher it belongs to. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope that this video was able to explain several important points about WICOR documentation, how to do so. We covered what WICOR means, different examples that you can use. We covered how the template looks like, the expectations of how they're supposed to look like with description, pictures, and the WICOR strategy. And we also cover what ambassadors are. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you.